Oh, hi. There we are. Hold on a second. Ah! Ugh. What? What's this thing? Whoa. Oh, my God. Okay. Here, babe. Just you come sit here and I'll try to get this. We just want to show you the tape machine we used.
That's awesome. Yes.
One of them, anyway.
So Tascam 4-track. We used two of them.
What?
But we used two 4-tracks that we bounce back and forth between, and then eventually an 8-track.
It's interesting because, we recently spoke to Ladybug Transistor, and they were one of the few groups that actually bought an album of theirs back in the day, like in 99 or so. I actually also have a 7-inch. I think it's a very early 7-inch that I purchased of Dressy Bessy, because I did have several friends who were fans of yours back then. So I have a little bit of familiarity with you, but even still, your heyday was just as I was kind of like not as obsessive about music and didn't know all the things and didn't
Right.
Just as I've gotten older over the last 5-10 years, I've gotten more like that again. But
Nice.
Here I am.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. I think it's great. I'm trying to influence my kids as positively as possible. So
Right.
I will say that I have two daughters, and both of them, especially my older daughter, refuses to listen to any music by anything that is not sung by a female. So I definitely appreciate adding this to the rotation for sure.
Girl power.
Originally, I thought it was a split 7-inch, and then I pulled out, and it's not. It's just
We only had a couple 7-inches.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I actually just picked one up like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, something like that.
Yeah.
there was the self-released one that was distributed by Darla, and we put that out ourselves on our own label, Little Dipper Records, and that had ultra vivid color.
That was like an EP almost.
Mhm.
There were four songs.
I'm actually pretty sure that's the one. It's
hand colored.
I keep all my 7-inches in another room of where I'm at, so I can't look at it right now. But that sounds incredibly familiar to me.
Super duper lo-fi. That was recorded on cassette 4-track.
For some reason, I was thinking there was a split 7-inch with Bratmobile or Heavens to Betsy or a group like one of those groups, but it was not, obviously.
No, okay.
But
cool.
But anyway,
We did have a British split 7-inch with a band called Saloon.
Yeah, that was later though.
That was around the time of Sound Go Round, so it would have been
2001 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Sound Go Round was actually my first Dressy Bessy album.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, right, huh?
That was a blood, sweat, and tears one.
Yeah.
Actually, they all are.
Yes, I can imagine.
We're gluttons for this crap. Well, the thing is, before I started Dressy Bessy, I was a member of the Miners.
I
And
never knew that.
very
didn't know
early
that at all.
on, very early on, Martin and I were writing songs together. There were 2 songs. It was Big Vacation, and his was, I think, Paper Plane. We split up. We went separate ways. I decided I wanted to do my own thing, and
Yeah.
we had songs that weren't finished, and we're like, all right, I'll take this one. You can have that one, and that's how that kind of happened. So
Well, I'd say it worked out.
yeah, definitely, I'd say so too.
And John, were you a full-fledged member by the time Pink Hearts Yellow Moons was recorded, or was this the album that you were like engineering and became a member like towards the end of it?
Yeah, I think just during in the midst of it, I think I became a member because before Pink Hearts, they were playing shows without me. They were playing as a 3-piece. I think there was just a moment when we were kind of in the later stages of recording where I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm in the band now. Because I wasn't just engineering. I started playing guitars, and I play, as soon as I started playing significant amount of guitars on it, that's when it was like, okay, well,
You're in now.
yeah.
Well, also too, like when we first started out, there were no intentions of, becoming an operating like touring band or anything. We were just like, oh, let's record some music. I had started out, I had some songs. Like I said, I put my band together after I left the Minders. And then when we started getting offers to travel and play shows, we definitely wanted another guitar player in there. And we did actually start auditioning different people, and John kind of stepped up. I think that was part of it too. He's like, no, I want to be in here.
I think that was it. They
That was it.
auditioned a couple of guitar players. And I was like, I don't know. And that's how I kind of ended up like, I guess I'm going to have to do it. The one thing with Dressy Bessy is that in those early days, I was really busy with the Apples. It was kind of the Apples were starting to take off. And
Right.
so what happened was right before I was getting ready to leave town for a Apples tour, and I gave Tammy my cassette 4-track. At that point, she could just barely play guitar, really. And I mean, you could play.
I was playing with the Minders, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you were just starting. Was that the year after?
Let's see.
Anyway, I was getting ready to go on tour. I gave her this 4-track, showed her how to use it, and I came back, and she had like 12 songs or something.
All track.
Like a month later, she had 12 songs all completely done.
You should try to kiss her.
So some of those were that was the creation of Dressy Bessy, but it wasn't Dressy Bessy yet.
Right.
Look around and you'll find that I've wasted my time. I don't know if I found the right door. Turn around and you'll see what has happened to me. I don't know where I'm going half the time. He don't want me around. We gotta meet back down on the ground. He don't want me around. We gotta meet back down on the ground. Look around and you ask, can she make it that fast? I don't know if I found the right road. Come around, stop right there. You might breathe free the air. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. He don't want me around. We gotta meet back down on the ground. He don't want me around. We gotta meet back down on the ground. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. He don't want me around. We gotta meet back down on the ground. He don't want me around. We gotta meet back down on the ground. He don't want me around. We gotta meet back down on the ground. He don't
Was living in Colorado Springs. I was dating a guy who had a cassette 8-track, and he was a musician, and he would throw down like every instrument. He'd throw down like instrumentation, and give it to me and say, here, write a melody and lyrics over this. And that's really where I got my start and my interest in songwriting. I was like, whoa, I kind of have a knack for this. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know what I'm doing, but whoa, this is kind of cool. And
You also had I guess, the advantage of thinking that's just how everybody does it, right? It's like,
right,
I mean,
right,
it's really
exactly.
not, but yeah.
Right, exactly. Oh, okay. Well, this is just, yeah, cool. I'm gonna keep doing this.
But
And then,
we also had access, like
yeah,
a lot of people back then didn't do the way we were doing it, didn't have 4 tracks. And, so we didn't have to book studio time and we could just do it, just literally just
Right.
do it sitting on the couch,
right. And like, oh, today let's record a song today. Okay, cool. And like throw up a Casio click track as drums and go for it.
Yeah. Well, there is something to be said, because when you're in a studio, you just feel like you're on the spot. You're paying for
Yeah.
time.
Right.
Yep.
It
There's no
feels
pressure.
completely different. Yeah.
And it can be more organic at home too, because you're at home, you can do it in your pajamas.
Yep.
We smoked a lot of cigarettes back then too.
Right, exactly.
Tammy and I did at least.
Yeah.
I know that you believe that what you watched on TV was just another clue that they wrote for you. Yes. Do-be-do-do-do. At least that much is true. Do-be-do-do-do. They wrote it just for you. Do-be-do-do-do-do. They showed it on the news. Do-be-do-do-do-do. For people just like you and me, who like to believe that what we receive is true.
Hey, thanks for listening to Don't Bother Wearing Seatbelts, where we are headed via satellite straight to Elephant Six headquarters to talk to Kelly Hart. Kelly, do we have news on a brand new Olivia Tremor Control record today, or shall we stay waiting?
Gonna have to wait. I don't have any news for you this time.
But you do have an announcement about an Elephant Six classic band putting out a new record. Can you tell us about that?
That's right, Patrick. Mike Turner of Happy Happy Birthday to Me Records said we could announce that this fall there will be a new record from the Minders on his label. And the title of that album is Cathedral.
Awesome.
And yeah, we don't have an exact date for that yet, but look out for that fall 2026. New music from the Minders for the first time in a few years. So good to see.
Yeah, excellent. I love the Minders. I love Martin. And Martin has a coffee company if anybody wants to get coffee sent to them from Portland, along with that record when it comes out. And what else is going on, Kelly?
Well, as far as new releases, you're probably sick of me mentioning it, but the Black Swan Network Early Music Volume 1 reissue is on streaming as of May 8th. The vinyl got delayed because of a delay at the pressing plant. So this new street date for the vinyl is June 5th. But if you pre-ordered it from Happy Happy Birthday to Me, order should be going out by the end of the month. I look forward to everybody being able to hear those new unreleased tracks.
Yeah, excellent. And we just had a great episode with Ron about that album, and that was really fun to dive into. So the first time people actually, if you're dying to hear the music before it's out, there's many songs featured on that episode as well.
Yeah, also another new release, a big one, June 5th of Montreal have a new album out, and they'll be on a huge tour this summer supporting that. We'll get to that later. I don't know how to say it. You guys will have to tell me how it's pronounced. Ethermead? I'm not sure, but that's on Polyvinyl Records, June 5th. One other record that is Elephant Six adjacent that will be out July 25th is a band called Go Public, which is Sean Rawls and Adrian Finch, who are also of Masters of the Hemisphere. They have a new album that'll be out on Happy Happy Birthday to Me. The title of it is You Are Traffic. So while they may not be exactly, well, and Adrian did play in Elf Power for a number of years on violin. So, it's one of those things where it's tangentially Elephant Six.
Mm-hmm. I saw Sean at Will's Memorial as well, and Sean has some very cool records. Still Flying was his band as well, and Masters of Hemisphere used to tour a lot with Elf Power, and I actually saw first time I ever saw Master of Hemisphere was with Essex Green. So yes, very Elephant Six adjacent. So that's very cool to hear.
But that's all the new releases I am allowed to talk about right now. So, but yeah, lots to look forward to this year, and there will be more announcements. So stay tuned for that. You'll hear them here first.
Awesome. And what's going on in the touring world of B6?
Yeah, so it's summer, and well, it's not quite summer, but it's almost summer, and tons and tons of shows to announce. I'm going to do them alphabetically on my list instead of chronologically because I don't know how to organize this otherwise. A big one, which lots of people ask about all the time, when is Beulah going to reissue their records? When is Beulah going to do something? Well, it's not Beulah, but Bill Swan of Beulah is playing a solo show for the first time ever. That's May 30th in Albany, California. He's opening for Doug Gillard of Guided by Voices. I know a few of us have had a sneak preview of some new recordings that Bill has been working on, and I think they're fantastic. So I'm not sure exactly if he's going to be playing those songs or probably some old Beulah songs, but either way, Bill Swan is a great pop songwriter. And next, Clay Cole, which is Rebecca Cole of the Minders and Pavement. She's been playing lots of little shows where she lives. She's playing in Louisville on May 27th. So if you're in the area, check it out.
And I'll be excited to see her this summer with Pavement because Pavement is going out and playing some shows.
Yeah, she's very busy this summer, but she's also trying to get in some solo shows, which are really fun. And she plays old Minder songs and new songs. It's great. Next up, we have Elf Power, who just played at the Kindercore 30th Anniversary Festival here in Athens. They've got a show coming up in June at another Athens music festival. It's an annual festival called AthFest, where hundreds of local bands play over 3 days here in town. It's really fun if you're thinking about visiting Athens. It's also really hot that time of year, but they will be playing on June 27th at the 40 Watt with Kevin Kinney of Drivin' and Cryin'. So it's just a fun time to come to Athens and catch tons and tons of local bands in like a very compacted 3 days. Third, we've got Garment District playing. They've got a bunch of shows in the Pittsburgh area where they're based in May 16th, May 27th, and another one on July 24th. So Jennifer's keeping busy this summer with Garment District shows. Also on the road this summer, Giant Day are going to be opening for Black Moth Super Rainbow on a big West Coast tour. That runs from July 24th till August 7th. And they told me they're going to have some new exclusive merch. So if you're out there, say hi to them at the merch table and they'll have some new stuff. Including they're going to finally have a CD version of their latest album available that will have some bonus remix tracks on it, including one from Tobacco of Black Moth Super Rainbow. That'll be a cool thing. Ladybug Transistor is also going to be playing a show May 22nd, opening for Belle and Sebastian in New York City. I don't know if there's still tickets for that, but if you're in the area, check that out. And we mentioned this earlier, but Of Montreal is going to be hitting the road this summer in support of their new album. And it kicks off June 19th in Athens, and it goes through the whole country. So you can go on our website, elephant6.com, or on their website to look up the dates, get tickets in advance. And last but not least, Tammy Shine Dressy Bessy, still out playing shows. They just played a string of shows going to the East Coast, including the Kindercore 30th Anniversary. They've already got some dates announced for the fall, including the Windy Pop Weekender in Chicago. That's at the end of September. So if you're not following Tammy or Dressy Bessy on social media, they're always announcing new shows and probably lots more for the rest of the year. So tons and tons of bands to go see. It looks like really covering all parts of the US. just keep an eye out on our website for more dates to be announced.
That is awesome. Elephant Six is alive and well, both in record form and on the stage. And of course, in the past 2 years, it's been alive and well in books and in film as well. So lots of things happening, and we are very excited about the rest of 2026. So thank you for joining us again today, Kelly. Anything else that you want to spread onto of the Elephant Six world?
I do have one more thing I forgot about. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but I think it's okay for me to say it, which is that August 1st, there will be a special screening of the Elephant Six documentary in Tokyo, Japan.
Excellent.
Chad, the director, will be there to do a Q&A with maybe a couple other surprise guests.
Wow.
So if you happen to be in Tokyo, August 1st, there should be a full announcement of the venue and all the things you need to know soon. But you can go ahead and pencil that in on your calendar.
Very cool. For all of our Tokyo and Japanese listeners, Elephant Six film is coming your way. Thank you so much, Kelly. And our listeners can't see it, but Kelly has surprised us with the visual cover of a I'll just say possible new Olivia Tremor Control album behind her. So none of you can see it, but we are all enjoying it, just so you all know. So thank you for coming to us live via satellite. Where does everybody get their Elephant Six records? If they don't get them from record stores, how can they get them from you, Kelly?
Well, of course, the best thing to do is get them directly from the band if they have a band camp or something like that. But otherwise, we try to stock as much as we can on elephant6.com.
Awesome. Oh, and just one other thing. Thank you, everybody who has joined the Don't Bother Wearing Seatbelts Patreon. Just know that every month that we give away a record, Kelly usually wins it and just says that somebody else can have it. She is the luckiest Elephant Six fan. I think there's a lot of good karma there. So
Only that translated to winning other things.
I know you believe the fucked up things that you read are gonna happen. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. I know you believe the fucked up things that you read are gonna happen. Yeah, that's what they want you to believe. You believe it. I know you believe the fucked up things that you read are gonna happen. Yeah, yeah. I know you believe the fucked up things that you read are gonna happen. Yeah. Hell, your head is starting to swell. You got a song in your pocket, starting to sell. You're not alone. We're both at home. So you ran on the block to try to find your salvation. You need a friend who's gonna listen again. You're not alone. We're both at home. Can't you see me?
Obviously, Dressy Bessy is one of the more looser affiliations with Elephant Six. I would think that it's primarily just through John's relation with Apple's.
Mhm.
But one of the things I love is this attitude of fuck it. If we make money, cool, but it's also not really a factor. We just want to put this stuff out in the world. And I really like that. And I feel like that energy really comes across when I listen to Dressy Bessy. What I feel like is, number one, it feels like a party in a box, but it's not a regular part. It's like a real party. It's like, oh, there's a
Right.
guy in the corner who's having an argument with his girlfriend. There is two friends who are having an existential crisis about life. There's some
Yep.
dude just passed on
I
the
love
cat.
that.
But like meanwhile, there's all this happy, fun music playing at the same time. I'm not much of a lyrics person, but that stuck out to me. Even the lyrics are talking about things that
Yes.
maybe aren't heavy, but they're serious, you know?
But that's, yeah, exactly. And that's always kind of been my approach. Everything is tongue in cheek and everything is open to interpretation. Early on, writing a song and writing lyrics was a way for me to like, face my demons and kind of like, so and so like is such a jerk. And then I'd write a song and be like, da, 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 and it's like, okay. And it was my little quiet revenge, 'cause
Yep.
they don't know that they're the inspiration, or that our argument was the inspiration for this song that makes so many people happy, and so many people sort of relate to it in a different sort of way. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But I've always said that that's like, if I'm pissed off about something, I write a song and it just happens to come out really upbeat. And,
Yeah, right.
there you can't go
You
wrong.
do have a knack for making it very, very upbeat.
Thank you.
Every song has a backstory there.
Right.
Jenny bought a brand new dress, she bought it on the day we went for soda. Everywhere that Jenny walks, all the boys make sure they walk beside her. Jenny bought a brand new dress, it's pretty, and she bought it for $1. Dress it up, she put it on the side.
Anytime that my wife buys a new dress,
Ah.
I tell her, it's pretty.
Oh, this is so cute. Is her name Jenny?
Yes, yep, from Jenny. Come
Oh.
on, yeah.
I love that.
And she'll look at me like I'm crazy because I'm not sure that she actually gets the reference on me.
Oh yeah,
But,
right.
But what
I'll
a
just say,
good
it's
husband to
pretty.
tell your wife her dress is pretty. That's awesome.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
one
when
time
you think of this record, what comes to
Well-
mind?
Well, to back up, Matthew had initially asked us to do Sound Go Round, and I suggested we do this one because this one has gotten the most attention overall out of all
This and the the self-titled, correct? Or is the other one that's gotten the most attention?
Yeah, self-titled
Well,
did really well too.
Yeah, it did well. It got a lot of licensing, but it really comes down to If You Should Try to Kiss Her
Yeah.
off of this record that was in the movie and
But I'm a Cheerleader.
But I'm a Cheerleader in the year 2000. And so, it gets, 1 million plays a year. Like if you look at the, it just gets a lot more attention now. That's only one song, so it's not necessarily the whole album, but
And then Just Like Henry was in that movie
That
as
was
well,
also-
correct?
also,
Yeah.
right. Now, Electrified actually got the most mainstream attention. It actually hit the Billboard charts and stuff.
Right.
So that actually got the most attention, but it's not as indie. And, a lot of our super indie fans don't like that as much as some of the early stuff.
And then with our current records, like with King Size and Fast Fashion Disaster, which are like 215 and 219, we
Yeah.
have a whole new different following.
Yeah. We
Like,
picked up a lot of new fans. Yeah.
Really?
Younger people really connect with those two records. So who hadn't heard
That's
us
awesome.
before, and they started there and went back.
Well, that's one thing with Dressy Bessy is a lot of people associate us with, like a lot of people would say, oh, they're part of the Elephant Six thing. And so they just assume that we've got this huge Elephant Six crowd, but really only about a quarter of our crowd is Elephant Six crowd.
I'm
And-
not sure that there is really all that huge of an Elephant Six.
There
crowd
really
Right,
isn't.
right
There
now.
really
exactly.
there isn't now, but there was in
Yes.
the middle 2000s. There was as the other bands were doing stuff too.
Part of the reason that we're doing this is we really want to get some more attention on
Right.
these amazing albums that have been more or less ignored since the early 2000s, when there was kind of like a clapback against Elephant Six for no reason that I can see.
Right.
But like a lot of people that were part of that movement, I think got unfairly ignored for quite a while.
Yeah, right.
Well, I will say that for me, just like Matthew sent me a list of bands we could potentially reach out to and speak to, and I saw Dressy Bessy on there, and I was like, I mean, I was loosely familiar with what you've been doing over,
Mhm.
I guess now the last essentially almost 30 years.
Almost,
But
yeah.
but I always associated Dressy Bessy with a different scene. So it was just interesting to me. I personally really love the self-titled album, and there was I can't remember the name, but there was a record that came in around 2008, 2009 that
The Holler and Stomp. Yeah.
that I have
Mhm.
enjoyed quite a few. I mean, I've listened to it several
Um,
times now and always seem to enjoy it. So
Thank you. Well, that one we got lost. That came out in the fall of 2008 during the housing crash, and
It came
yeah.
out a week before the housing crash.
Oh
so
my
we went
God.
out and did like one cycle of tours around the U.S. and it was just we had to come home and Aerosmith was canceling arena tours at that time because
Yeah,
people
and
just
we
weren't
had
buying
we had
tickets.
sold out shows that had like they were literally sold out, and there would only be like 25 people there.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so anyway, yeah. Woo. Well, first of all, we kind of purposefully like tried to like separate ourselves from Elephant Six a little bit. Not saying, we're friends and of course we're all associated and Pink Hearts, we did the vocals and mixing in Pet Sounds, but we didn't want to be a side project of the Apples. And that was one of the conditions of John like joining. I was like, well, listen, we got to like make our own way too. I don't want to like, become this side project or this side note in the Elephant Six collective because we're just different. I think that's kind of why the affiliation seems so loose. And some people are like, oh, they're not Elephant Six because they don't have the stamp. And okay,
Oh,
fine.
I don't care about that.
Right,
No.
exactly.
Well, we never even considered to try to do that because it
Right.
was a completely separate thing from the very beginning.
Well,
And so, and we've got our own way. And in the early days, we were like, what was it? Like piggybacking with the Apples. Like Apples would put out a record and do like a tour cycle, and Dressy Bessy would be at home writing,
We'd have to time it all, so
get the next
we'd
one
kind
ready.
of do a leapfrog. Yeah.
Right.
right.
And so then when the Apples were done with their album cycle, we had a record ready and then we go out and do it. So John's like the busiest man in rock or indie rock anyway.
Well, I mean, there were
Sure.
some years there where I did like, over 250 shows between the two bands.
Open the door, walking behind her. Draw back your bow, let it remind her. No one's around, no need to fake it. She's not in love, how can she take it?
I was really excited when the last album came out. I was just going to get some lunch on my lunch break at work. This was before the album came out, and all of a sudden they were playing the first single on NPR.
Oh yeah.
That was my first clue that you guys even had a new album coming out. That was awesome.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
That would
Pierre's
have been Fast Faster Disaster, I think.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, there's a lot.
And that one too. That one came out, 6 months before the pandemic hit. So we did
Right.
get one round of touring, just like Holler and Stomp. We got one round of touring, and nowadays you do have to like touring is back. That's how you get, you can't rely on like, labels to promote you or you've got to get out there and do it yourself. Again, these days.
Well, we generally would do 2 rounds at least,
Yeah.
of the, talking about the US.
Yeah.
We'd go around and do the whole thing and then go around and do the whole thing, all the major markets again, and then do some of the secondary markets.
We had planned to go to Europe as well that year.
Yeah.
Like 219, 220
And
and
220.
yeah, 220. And then, 4 years later, this record's 5 years old, it's like,
Right.
okay, well, let's make something else. So
You have a solo album coming out soonish, don't you?
yeah, it's all finished up and ready to go. I'm kind of trying to keep it under wraps until
Oh, can-
it's
we
time.
can cut that.
No, you can mention it. You can
Okay.
definitely mention it's coming in 2025. I just don't want to, you know what I mean? I just want it to be like, boom, there it is, done.
how would a solo album be different than what you do with Dressy Bessy? I'm just kind of curious because I mean you are so prominent
Yeah.
in terms of the songwriting and the performance of the songs.
Well, I played everything on this, and recorded it all myself, and it's the first time. I mean, I've mixed and recorded complete songs, but this is the first time I've mixed and recorded a collection of 12 songs were all written and recorded over the period of 4 years, and so I'm trying to like get them together to be somewhat cohesive as an album. It was a challenge for me. I had to learn a lot about EQ, and
She did absolutely everything from start to finish, except for mastering. And, and then she worked really closely with the mastering guy.
Yeah.
So she mixed
amazing.
it, engineered it, and I came in and occasionally did a couple, help her with little things here and there.
John has like the best like low mid-range ear of anyone that I know. Like, and low mid-range I've discovered is a frequency that just hits me wrong if it's not dialed in. And he knows what to do there. So I did have him help me do that a couple times with bass and kick drums and stuff like that. And yeah, I just wanted to, it's all stuff that it would have been a Dressy Bessy record, but with the lockdown, I mean, at the time we didn't have a permanent bass player, and our drummer was like, we just weren't getting together. The future was just so like unpredictable at that time, and so. But I had to,
for sure,
continue doing what I do. So I thought, well, these recordings are good enough. I'll just put out a record, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, might as well show off all these new skills you've picked up and things you've learned, all that.
And it's some of them, like when I perform live, I use like a drum pedal. It's kind of like a distortion pedal. It's called a Beat Buddy. It's put out by Singular Sound. Anyway, but when I play live, it's just my acoustic guitar through my Big Muff and my Beat Buddy drum pedal and vocals. But
it's rocking.
Record, it's rocking.
Well, she plays with full bands.
Yeah.
You had mentioned earlier that touring is back. Is playing music the primary source of income for both of you, or do you both also have other sort of day jobs that and then it all adds up to? I'm just kind of curious because one of the recurring stories, if you want to call them that, and just talking to people, is just the reality of making music that isn't maybe necessarily designed for top of the pops and sort of like that. And
Sure.
Well, it's like in the early days, the late 90s until the 2008
the housing crash. Until 2008, there was about a 10-year period there where indie bands could do pretty well, both making a little bit of money on the road but also licensing for TV, movie, and commercials and that kind of stuff. And the pay was pretty good. I mean, you'd get a license for a TV show and it'd be like $25,000. And
oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it was steady like that, but when
it happened,
there was actually, I say this all the time and young people don't believe me, but there was actually a middle class in the music industry. Yeah. And that's what we were. We were the kind of middle to maybe touching on the upper middle class of the music industry.
For that window, we were right. We made it just in time.
But anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. But in 2005, we were making money. But then as soon as that crash hit, the very first thing when economies take a downturn happens is companies start cutting back on advertising. So after 2008, that same $25,000 license would now be $2,500.
Right.
And it's been less and less. I mean,
and then jingle houses started popping up.
Yeah, jingle houses start popping up and start doing copycats of Apples and
$4,000 or $500.
Yeah, so I mean, it really went from being paid pretty well and to hardly making anything at all off of licensing.
Right.
So then it became a struggle, and then for us personally, then live music. Eventually it became live music was the only way to make money. I mean, back to your question though, but Tammy and I haven't had regular quote unquote jobs since about 2000?
Our job was to like stay fit and cute.
So she's a photographer and we sell things here and there.
I do well with royalties. I live off my royalties.
Yeah, there's royalties. And I work in the music industry doing, tour managing kind of stuff and sometimes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're kind of lucky.
Yeah, but more or less, yes, we've been able to make a living off of music, but we had to make ends meet here and there.
My hat's off to that. Respect for
Thank
that.
you.
That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
We learned to just live a different kind of life. We go on vacation, we do all the things that a lot of people do, but we don't buy.
It's not extravagant.
We don't buy $800 a month cars and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just you have to just adjust your life. It's an artist lifestyle.
Mhm. Our kids live in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, and so during the
well, you're right by me then.
in Marquette.
I'm not in the UP, but
Oh.
I'm in the the middle of the Lower Peninsula.
Well, we're gonna stop and visit you the next time we head up that
Come
way.
yeah.
Oh my God! Dude, I will set up a little show for you guys.
How cool!
Wait, where are you?
Port Huron.
Wow.
It's
Oh,
I'm at
okay,
like the
okay.
base
Sweet.
of the thumb.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
sweet.
sweet.
Well, I was gonna say, like during the pandemic, like John and like I said, we had all this touring set up, and we were just like screeching halt, and you gear up for that shit. You get yourself and mentally and physically ready to tour for like 2 years. It's hard to just like be like, now what? So John decided he's going to convert our tour van into a camper van, and we are going to head out and just hit the road and do like camping, mainly to go visit our kids.
Yeah, we were just trying to
low
figure out how to
cost.
do it low cost without using. It was in the middle of the it was the early
2020. Yeah.
fall 2020. So we were trying to do it without using hotels, without eating at restaurants. So,
Right.
So camper
Yeah.
van.
Right. But it also, when we go out and do this stuff, we found this new passion for exploring the wilderness together. But anyway, it's been amazing. But when we do it, we drive around all day, we find our spot, set up, cook a scratch dinner, go to bed, get up early the next morning, pack up, and move on to the next site. We never stay more than once. We're not like, we don't sit in chairs and eat hot dogs and drink beer when we camp. It's like a job. It's kind of like
It's a constant exploration.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it kind of like filled that void of tour.
Well, we realize it is. We do it a lot like tour. It's
touring.
almost
Pack it up
exactly
and
like
move on to
touring,
the next
yeah.
venue. You know what I mean? So it
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of filled that void for us there for a while.
They say it's all over. I'm your lucky clover. I'm not good at guessing. Wanna know? You confess it.
For me, it was exiting the Minders. Like, unfortunately, it wasn't a friendly exit.
Sure.
It prompted me, and I don't, I thank him for that, but it prompted me to go home and write my own freaking record. I was like, okay, well, I can do this too. And a lot of the material is just sort of that, like, I can do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I would say that it worked out very well.
Thank you.
Well, prior to Dressy Bessy, she had only been a part of other bands.
As a singer.
Yeah, as a singer.
And
So
a guitar player.
and so not like a full like band leader type,
Right.
Sure.
So yeah, you were just departing the Minders, and then so
Yeah.
started writing songs, and
And decided I was going to start my own band.
and at, in the very very early days, at first it seemed like I didn't have time to dedicate to another band because I was so busy with the Apples. So
Yeah.
that first year and a half or so,
Mhm. I was just trying to find people to play with. that
yeah,
fit.
yeah, and I wasn't really even involved,
Yeah.
other than just kind of giving her advice or
Support.
whatever.
Because we had only been dating a couple of years at that point too. So
That's right. We started dating in fall '95, and so she started Dressy Bessy like a little over a year later.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you guys were already together
Yeah.
when you started. Okay.
Yeah, well, John bought me my first electric guitar, the 65 Hagstrom 2, which I played like I played it through 2012, and then I retired it.
Help me find my Marianne. She and I go hand in hand. If you see my Marianne, tell her I am lovelier.
Going back to my party analogy, I think
Yeah.
one thing that at least struck out to me as somebody who's not really very good at paying attention to lyrics,
Yeah,
it does feel like the lyrics, a lot of them are very much like two friends sitting in the corner, sort of not gossiping, but just sort of talking about
right.
situations in their lives.
Yeah, yeah.
in
And that's where that all came from. It was just kind of like I said, if something or somebody pissed me off, I write a song and it made me feel better.
Well, and it was really pure then too, because it wasn't
Yeah.
like Dressy Bessy didn't even really exist. And later, once you're actually doing a band and you're recording your fourth album or whatever, then everything's defined. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
you have to do the same thing over and over again,
Right.
The
but it's just a
parameters get
different
very
mindset.
narrow.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, so it was fresh. Everything was just like the whole world was wide open.
Right.
So
And I was just writing songs without an album in mind you.
that's the other thing. That's the other thing.
I was just writing songs and getting this shit off my chest. So
Pink Hearts is kind of the product of the first 2 or 3 years of what would be Dressy Bessy.
mhm.
something that started as sort of like, oh, I'm just going to do this because it seems like fun and I have the desire to do this, turned into an actual semi livelihood, which I think it's really always fascinating. But let's talk about the 4-track.
Well, that's actually a loaded question, but
Yeah.
um,
Like you said, some of the tracks, like You Stand Here, that was on cassette 4-track, like he was saying, it was before
yeah,
we decided we were going to make an album.
I would say we did it with 2 reel-to-reel 1/4-inch 4-track machines. One we have sitting right here next to us, and I'm trying to think of what is it? It's a Tascam 34B. This would be from the 80s, I would guess, the middle 80s, and it's kind of a later version of the one. We had a later 70s version of a Tascam 4-track that I think was our old bass player Rob's. And so what we would do is we would fill up the 4 tracks, and then we would dump those 4 tracks to 2 tracks on the other machine. And then while we were dumping those 4 tracks, we would usually record overdub a tambourine and then something else. We usually do 1 or 2 things as we were dumping, and then we'd fill up the other tracks. And almost everything in those days, when you're working on 4 tracks, almost everything we would hardly ever do just a single thing at one time.
Right.
It would be while we were dumping the tracks, we would add 1 or 2 things, or we would simultaneously do 2 things, on one track. If you listen to closely to whatever Pink Hearts, or If You Should Try to Kiss Her, or even Look Around, any of the songs, there's quite a bit going on.
There's a lot going on.
Considering that,
Yeah.
it was all just kind of 4-track stuff.
I'm a little bit in shock just to hear that. I mean, there's multiple ways that the songs were recorded, because it sounds, all the tracks have a very sort of uniform sound sonically.
Yeah.
It's relatively, I mean, especially for lo-fi, I mean, it's really good.
When it does,
quality.
I think it is. It's lo-fi, but
We were trying to make it sound as
we were
hi-fi as
we
possible
didn't want it to be lo-fi.
Yeah.
We were trying to make it sound hi-fi,
as possible.
but it was just the limitations were the gear that we had.
Right.
Now, one thing I will say, and this will give credit to Robert Schneider, is in the very, very end, we dumped the last 4 tracks to the 8-track. And then we went into the studio and Tammy did all the final vocals and stuff.
At Pet Sounds.
At Pet Sounds, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when we did the very, very final mix, it came off the 8-track, 1/2-inch 8-track machine, the Otari 5050. And then Robert mixed that with us. I'm not crazy about going back and listening to our records, to any of my own records,
Me neither.
really. I usually don't do it that much, but I actually enjoy listening to Pink Hearts Yellow Moons, and I think it sounds really good.
She's king size, like her appetite. She wants to eat you up, but she's a little tired. She's a rare find, she's out of sight. She'd like to help you out, but she's a little shy. At the same time, I'm too big to cry, to cry, to cry, to cry. In the same way, you're dissatisfied. It's for you.
So clearly, you're both still very much at it. It's exciting for someone like me, like, because as I mentioned at sort of the very outset, I somehow 25, 30 years ago missed a lot of this stuff that was going on in independent music. And I'm just catching up now. So it's exciting. Here's a group that's still doing new stuff. I like their old stuff. I also like their new stuff. I mean, other people like me who we're just, for whatever reason, we're dumbasses and missed the boat the first
There's
time.
just a lot. I mean, there's a lot that I would just now getting into too that I missed. It's like there's just so much good. It's impossible to like keep up with it all unless you're Matthew Bell, probably. But
yeah.
Oh no. No.
I always say start with like the newer records and go back to the beginning. Like start with the most.
Sorry,
Was
fast, faster disaster.
You're talking about 1996 to 2024. It's gotten exponentially harder to get people's attention now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Even though we have a direct outlet, we can talk directly to our fans, and we're friends with our fans,
Right.
in a way that we weren't in the past. I mean, we've always been friends, but now, like we get to interact with Mathew every day on whatever online,
Right.
And I'm just using you as an example, but
I think the problem with that is just it's information overload, and
it is. Yeah,
It's a lot of noise.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise.
Don't Bother Wearing Seatbelts returns in 2 weeks with an all-new episode with of Montreal. Until then, don't forget about our $1 Patreon that makes you eligible for our many giveaways and helps us keep the proverbial lights on. And oh yeah, don't forget to do what brings you joy and fulfillment, and maybe listen to some great music too.